It's Monday, December 14, and this is your Barbados Today Evening News Update. There's an alarming increase in child abuse cases in Barbados. Word of this from UNICEF Champion for Children, Faith Marshall Harris. She told Barbados Today over the past 4 weeks she has received some 20 abuse-related calls to the Faith Marshall Harris Sandy Lane Charitable Trust Children Helpline from frustrated and helpless children and concerned adults. And she's worried that the abuse has been causing serious harm to children.
I've got calls from 16-year-old girls who were being told they have to leave the house and find somewhere to live. They're not welcome here anymore. And I've actually had some authority figures suggesting to the parents they don't have to give you you don't have to give them shelter after 16. And I've had to point out that's not true. Up until 18, they have a right to shelter. Don't get tied up. At 16, they can indicate to you that a preference for where they would like to live, but that has nothing to do with the fact that if they want to live in the home, the parental home, that they're not entitled to shelter, and you can't just kick them out because you have a difference of opinion. I've had that. I've had a situation where a young lady was trying to study for CXC, and it was obviously interfering with the social life of the family, and a big fight erupted, and mother pushed her down the steps and told her, don't come back. And of course, she is now back at the home, but this is after a lot of interventions. Well, that's abuse. She was being abused. I have had situations of more serious abuse that, again, I feel that the parents didn't recognize the abuse. Saying to a child, I am sorry I didn't abort you, is abusive. It's cruel and abusive. Saying to a child, I don't know why you don't go and kill yourself, is abusive.
Marshall Harris is appealing to authorities to introduce child rights legislation to nip the vexing issue in the bud.
I am certainly looking forward to new legislation, which has been very long in coming. I would say about 30 years now that we need this legislation, where a number of abusive situations will be dealt with by law. It will be spelled out. And that is being worked on as I speak. And we should have a new draft fairly soon. And I hope in the new year, I hope.
The Barbados Employers Confederation favors the introduction of a national minimum wage. In a statement issued today, the BEC acknowledged that the minimum wage of $6.25 per hour for shop assistants and household domestics, which was legislated in 2012, cannot afford basic living standards. However, it stressed that studies must be done before a rate is set. The BEC knows that the operations of businesses, especially small ones, have to be carefully considered before a final decision is made. Last Thursday, Prime Minister Mia Mottley announced that by April 2021, a national minimum wage should be in place. Chairman of the Sanitation Service Authority, Ramon Allen, has dismissed reports from the National Union of Public Workers that it has not been engaging workers on a number of pressing issues. In a statement today, Allen said it would be erroneous to suggest the SSA's management has not engaged the SSA workers on their issues. Last Friday, NUPW Deputy General Secretary Wayne Walron told Barbados Today repeated efforts to have meetings convened with the SSA management have not been successful, and workers are becoming increasingly restive since their concerns have not been addressed. These matters include a pay increase, the implementation of a promised medical insurance scheme, safety and health issues, and hiring practices at the authority. But according to Allen, who was appointed back in September, the NUPW, the SSA board and workers met on November 23. With respect to the pay increase, Allen said the NUPW is well aware that the issue of wages for workers is directly related to negotiations between the NUPW and central government in such circumstances. On the other matters, the SSA chairman confirmed that the group medical plan for workers has been approved. He also said the refurbishment of the recreational facility was ongoing and efforts have been taken to improve other health and security matters, especially as it relates to COVID-19. Allen says the SSA has requested a meeting with the Committee of Management and is looking forward to continued dialogue. Now for the COVID-19 update. 2 male visitors tested positive for the viral illness out of the 702 tests conducted by the Besta Santos Public Health Laboratory on Saturday. The 2 men, ages 20 and 45, arrived on December 11 on British Airways and American Airlines, respectively. They were asymptomatic and tested positive on their second test. Additionally, 2 persons were released from isolation yesterday. As a result, there are 17 persons in isolation. Barbados has recorded 296 cases, comprising 154 females and 142 males. To date, 272 people have recovered. The lab has completed 54,434 tests since February.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news, Jamaica's National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang and the Police Federation say the U.S. State Department's sanctions against former members of the now disbanded Crime Management Unit raises questions about how the United States views the country's justice system. More in this report from Ocean Masters of Television Jamaica.
A police operation in the community of Crawl in Clarendon on May 7, 2003, which left 4 persons dead and many families hurting, even 2 decades after the ordeal. Although the team was acquitted in 2005, the repercussions are still being felt. Last week, the U.S. State Department announced the public designation of Devon Orlando Bernard, Renita de Cordova Adams, Patrick Anthony Koch, Shane St. Aubin Lyons, Lee Ford Gordon, and Roderick Anthony Collier. Their immediate family members are also covered by the designation. Individuals and their immediate family members who are designated publicly or privately are ineligible for entry into the United States. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says the designation coming after the local court's dismissal of the case shows a lack of trust in the island's judicial system by the United States.
It's a U.S. decision to do what they wish to do. It, of course, it's a real issue. How do they look at our justice system? The men went through it and were acquitted. But the decision whether to accept an individual in the country or not is still up to the sovereign state. I have an obligation to accept Jamaicans when they are sent to me, no obligation to accept any non-national. And it's the same thing in the United States. So we have to accept the judgment, even if we have doubts about why they do it.
On the international front, Democrat Joe Biden on Monday won the state-by-state electoral college vote that formally determines the U.S. presidency, all but ending President Donald Trump's floundering campaign to overturn his loss in the November 3 election. We get the details from Reuters Television.
We have now cast 16 electoral college votes on behalf of the state of Georgia for Joseph R. Biden as President of the United States, and 16 electoral college votes on behalf of the state of Georgia for Kamala D. Harris as Vice President of the United States.
Mr. President, I'm proud to announce that 29 votes have been cast for the Honorable Joseph Robinette Biden, Jr. of Delaware for President of the United States.
Madam Secretary, we have 6 votes for Joseph R. Biden for President and 6 votes for Kamala D. Harris for Vice President.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. It is my pleasure to announce to you and to the members of the college that the tellers agree in their count. The electors of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania have cast 20 votes for the Honorable Joseph R. Biden for President of the United States and 20 votes for the Honorable Kamala D. Harris for Vice President of the United States.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.